Hello, everyone, and welcome to October the 15th, regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 7:02. First, I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any additions or deletions? Go ahead, Councillor Lemko.
Your Worship, I'd like to bring up a closed session item with respect to human resources.
All right, well, that would be 11.2. Okay. Okay, all those in favor of the addition, and thank you very much. Next up, I'm looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular meeting. Councillor Rawawa makes the motion. Is there any errors? What? You found an error?
Yep.
Finally, let's go.
The error is Councillor Rudick's comments in the council reports are under my name or her comments. So just, it is a win for me because I was away on holidays. I didn't do anything but go to a council meeting. So that's the only thing, something minor.
Okay, so we will have those minutes changed. And so all those in favor, oh, you're okay if we make these changes?
I guess.
Okay, so the amendment will be that we will change the name on the council.
No, just take the report out of mine. I have Councillor Rudick's report, a copy of it under my name, and the councillor report under Councillor Rudick's name is correct. It's duplicated.
Okay, so that would be the amendment. Okay. Okay, so all those in favor of the minutes readjusted? Thank you very much. It's good for you to catch that, Councillor Bullock.
I read everything.
Okay, first up, we have a delegation from STARS.
Good evening. Thank you for accommodating me virtually. I will share my screen to provide the presentation here.
Shannon, where are you at? Are you in Edmonton or where are you at?
I am just south, so I work out of the Edmonton base. I'm at my house this evening, so I live in Millet, just south of Edmonton.
Oh, Millet, yes, we all know where Millet is.
Can everyone see that beautiful 40 years, one mission?
Yes, we certainly can.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you again for accommodating me virtually this evening. I'm very happy to be here to present your annual update. My name is Shannon Paquette. I'm a Donor Relations and Development Officer with STARS. And this year we are celebrating 40 years. So that's 40 years of serving Albertans and providing critical care anywhere. So STARS gains its funding through various channels. As you can see, we are receiving 15 million block funding from the government. We were fortunate to sign a 10-year affiliation agreement last year for this. After that, we're still responsible to fundraise 56% of our direct operational costs. So this includes long-standing community fundraising events, individual donors, community corporate partners, our municipal initiative, and of course our lottery. Our lottery is one of the most well-respected across Canada, and it's been running for more than 30 years now. The lottery usually generates around $11 million net, which is almost the operational cost of one of our bases in Alberta. So if any of you are lottery ticket purchasers, thank you so much. So I'll just skip ahead to highlight a few things here. So on this next slide, it's a snapshot of our municipal initiative across Alberta and northeastern BC. So I'm very excited to share that over 95% of Alberta's municipalities are in partnership with STARS and are part of our municipal initiative. This united effort really helps to ensure a robust health and safety regional leader partnerships are growing across the province and are represented by the dark blue boxes. These counties and municipal districts support STARS at a minimum of $2 per capita, all the way up to $90 per capita on a fixed rate, as well as including additional partnerships within their boundaries. So this would include the County of Minburn as well. The light blue boxes represent 9 provincial leaders who include STARS as a fixed rate standing motion in their emergency protective services budget each year. Each of these provincial leaders have contributed over $500,000 to date. And finally, the 16 complete regional partnerships are represented with the red borders. So in these municipalities, all cities, towns, and villages are also supporting STARS at the $2 per capita as well. So taking a look at the County of Minburn, this is your 15-year mission overview. Your county averages approximately 13 missions per year that STARS responds to, which is an incredible number of patients that we help in your communities. Interfacility transfers are listed here as well from the Vegreville Hospital. Usually these are scene calls that have originated within your county boundaries, and they're taken to the nearest hospital, but due to the level of critical care that's required, STARS is called in. So I'll touch a bit on this on another slide a little bit later, but STARS does not only provide physical support, we also provide virtual support to rural hospitals as well. And Vegreville Hospital are one of the hospitals that take advantage of these services. Our Emergency Link Center out of our Calgary base receives over 37,000 emergency requests per year, which is an incredible number that they have to manage. What happens is when a call would come in, they would work with the Vegreville Hospital to determine if it would be best if STARS if we arrive via helicopter, and then they would be able to receive all the information and relay that to the receiving hospital. So when we would arrive, we could just bypass the ER and head straight to the OR with all the specialists and everything ready. This is my favorite slide to share. It's our postal code project. We take the postal code information from patients that have been flown, and just to give you a little bit of a view of where we provide care for your residents. So since 2010, you can see a total of 109 area residents were picked up, were flown from Vegreville. 69 of them were picked up within county boundaries. However, 40 of them were flown from 17 other locations across 3 provinces. So accidents and illness do not only happen close to home, and I really love this slide, these stats, because I really believe it shows that we are there for your residents wherever they travel across Western Canada. So STARS is borderless, like I mentioned. We have 6 bases across Western Canada. We average 11 missions per day. This is a snapshot of one day where we were dispatched to 18 missions. You can see from the second column, they were pretty evenly distributed throughout the STARS bases. The description column speaks to the level of training that our crew has to undertake. You have everything from a workshop explosion to a vehicle accident to stroke to near drowning. And so for them to be able to pivot and to provide top-notch care, it requires an ongoing education on their part. And on the final column, you see where we work with other specialty teams. So with the first responders, with the NICU team, there's some instances where we traveled by ground. If the helicopter could not fly, sometimes that can happen due to weather restrictions. And there are other times that we were told to stand down. So like I mentioned, weather can have something to do with it. And in other cases, first responders might have been able to stabilize the patient on scene, and it was deemed that STARS was no longer required. but we'd just like to share this as it's a snapshot of kind of a day in the life of our crew and what they are up against. So STARS, we are pioneers in our industry, and this is just one of many examples. We were the first in North America to carry blood on board due to the extreme number of trauma cases that we had. We increased that from 2 units of blood to 4 units of blood, and we now carry fibrinogen. Fibrinogen promotes blood clotting in these severe trauma cases. So when we have these patients, we can administer the 2 units, fibrinogen, and the additional 2, and that allows us more time to get them to the hospital. Like I mentioned before, STARS medical teams provide virtual care support to physicians and staff at rural hospitals. So we use an encrypted connection through a program called Good Sam, and this allows them to provide live feeds, video feeds using mobile devices. It is a very fast and efficient method so that the doctors can see the patient in real time. And this innovation allows us to bring together many medical professionals on the same call. So rural physicians are welcome to initiate video consults through our emergency link center at any time. We have used virtual care consultations with Vegreville Hospital, and they can reach out to us at any time as well. On this slide, it's to highlight our longest mission to date. So when I say that we provide critical care anywhere, I mean it. So Doug McTavish is an Alberta resident, and he was hunting in northeastern BC when he started having chest pains. 911 determined he was having a heart attack, and they looped in our emergency link center. STARS was dispatched, and 2,400 liters of fuel, 1,700 kilometers, over 8 hours in flight, 5 hours providing care directly to the patient is one life saved. And Doug is doing great. He recently came into the Grand Prairie base to meet his crew. So this is just a great example of the links that we will go to provide care for patients that need it. So to recap in closing, I'd like to highlight that STARS has flown over 63,000 missions since our start in 1985. That's 63,000 patients, their families, and their communities that we've had a positive impact on. We average 13 missions per year in Minburn County, with 92% of them coming from the town of Vegreville. We enhance healthcare in your community through physical and virtual response, and this is all at no cost to the patient. So I would like to ask Council to consider my funding request of $2 per capita for 2026 to match the longstanding support that we've received from Minburn County and many other municipalities across the province. By joining the municipal initiative, you can help ensure the safety and well-being of your residents for years to come. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation, Shannon. Maybe you guys can get the fuel mileage a little better in those helicopters. It's over 1.5 liters per kilometer. Oh my goodness. No, you know, we all understand how important STARS is, and on your list there, you had 2 hills down there. Did the county say anything about that? 2 Hills is not in our county.
Oh, my apologies if that was on the presentation.
Yeah, I just thought, clear that up before you show it to the county.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Is there any other questions for Shannon?
No, good job.
We know the numbers because we know when you guys are coming to town. We hear you on the way in and on your way out, and most of us say a little prayer as you're leaving. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Okay. Is she gone?
I'm still here.
There she is. I was wondering because I thought it was still live and then her picture wasn't there. Did anybody else have anything?
Nope, I'm good.
No, we're good.
Yep.
Okay, we'll have a frank discussion, and we're just starting our budget right now, so we will let you know what our decision will be.
Great. Thank you all so much, and have a great evening.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So we had this same presentation last year, and we chose not to fund it, right?
That is correct. I do have it as a rolled forward item in this year's budget. I had been instructed by council last year to not include it in 2025, but to propose it for 2026 and onwards. So it's a line item in our budget to be decided upon final budget meetings.
Okay, so our next budget meeting will be with a new council.
Yes, in November.
So I would like for this to be included for the conversation, if we
Yes, and that's one of the conversations that I have right off the top is which grants we have for community organizations. So that'll probably be in the first hour of the budget meeting in November.
At any time, does anybody recall us with a per capita funding, or have we just given donations before?
The per capita funding is new. That is something they just started. Well, last year was the first time I heard about it, when they presented, and they said that it was a new initiative that they were going ahead and doing. As for donating as a municipality, no, I don't think we've ever just outright granted STARS any funding.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions right now about the president?
Well, no.
Go ahead, sure.
I'll just say that I think it was nice to see the way they gave a presentation this year. Last year, because it was so new and we couldn't see which other communities were involved or the areas, this was a lot more information. And it's always interesting to know anytime our surrounding partners like Minburn County choose to take part in contributing to funding. So that was good. I appreciate it.
Well, and 40 people from the county, within the county, they didn't say whereabouts, have received STARS at other locations.
This is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
like, really keep the stats pretty good, I guess. Okay, well, we'll talk about it. The presentation you've sent to us, right, Sabrina? So when we talk about this in our next budget meeting, if we were to have that presentation for any new counselors, I think it would be good for them to see as well. Okay. Okay, let's move on to FCSS.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. There's some supplemental correspondence from FCSS that came in today. So the topic is to request to appoint Nikki, I'm going to have trouble with this name, Ridshaw, as a member at large from the town of Vegreville. So the background is that the advisory board is currently recruiting members, and Nikki has expressed her interest in joining as a way to give back to her community. Nikki's position, working as a news anchor and promotions coordinator, gives her valuable perspectives, expertise, insight, and alignment with our board. Her appointment with the FCSS Advisory Board would strengthen our community connection, communication, create new partnerships, and add a unique perspective. The FCSS Advisory Board is pleased to recommend Nikki as a new member and is confident that her dedication, perspective, and desire to give back will make her a valuable asset to the board and community. There are no financial implications in this appointment. The communication strategy, should council approve this request, a letter from the mayor's office indicating acceptance of Nikki Richot's application to serve on the FCSS Advisory Board would be forwarded by the FCSS department to Nikki Richot. So the recommendation is that council approve the FCSS Advisory Board recommendation to accept Nikki Rajat as member at large on the FCSS Advisory Board for a 2-year term commencing October 27th, 2025.
Okay, looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Well, this is fantastic when we know it's so hard to find volunteers and we have people stepping up to actually join a very, very good committee that does wonderful things for this town. So I'm very happy that Nikki has stepped up and like to congratulate her for stepping up.
Excellent. I don't think I know who she is. Like, she works at
The radio.
the radio here in town.
It's
Oh.
Jeff's wife.
Oh, Jeff's wife. Oh, okay, I know who she is then. Yeah, again, I mean, anytime that we have somebody that's willing to give up free time and, you know, bring what they can offer to any board in town is always a good. Okay, so all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is a request to appoint Elaine Carter as a member at large from the town of Vegreville. So the background is the advisory board is currently recruiting members, and Elaine has expressed her interest in joining as a way to give back to her community. Elaine's position working as an administrative assistant with the County of Minburn's Planning Development gives her valuable perspective on the specific needs of the residents within the county. Her appointment with the FCSS Advisory Board would strengthen the county's representation and contribute a valuable community-informed perspective to the board's work. The FCSS Advisory Board is pleased to recommend Elaine as a new member and is confident that her dedication, perspective, and desire to give back will make her a valuable asset to the board and community. Again, there are no financial implications, and should council approve this request, a letter from the mayor's office indicating the acceptance of Elaine Carter's application to serve on the FCSS Advisory Board would be forwarded by the FCSS department to Elaine Carter. So the recommendation is that council approves the FCSS Advisory Board's recommendation to accept Elaine Carter as a member at large that represents the County of Minburn on the FCSS Advisory Board for a 2-year term commencing October 27th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any discussion? Again, we're happy that these positions are being filled, and I would imagine the FCSS, the board itself, you know, having a new take, a new look on, new perspective is always good. So thank you very much, Elaine and Nikki, for stepping up. So all those in favor? Carried. Next up, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have here the monthly cash statement for the month ended August 31st, 2025. We started the month with a balance of $5,136,154. We had receipts and disbursements of nearly the same, so $2,462,034 receipts and $2,140,355 of disbursements. We had closing cash at the end of the month of $5,457,934. So that is a net increase in cash and cash investments of $321,780. Major sources of cash for this month included $1.12 million from the finalization and receipt of our AMWIP government fund grant for the Forest Main. GST refund of $175,457. And major sources of cash for the month were $297,206 for RCMP quarterly installment. We had approximately $300,000 for some of our summer projects. We also paid $74,000 for our Central Square licensing for the year. So that includes a prepaid amount. So there was funds, this will carry us right through till September of next year. And other just various payments, including insurance and power and gas. And that is my cash statement for the month of August.
Okay, we'll take a motion to accept the cash statement as presented. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Any questions? And we will be taking a debenture at the end of the month.
Yes, that is finalized. I have confirmation from the provincial authorities. We will be receiving that cash via direct transfer on October 31st. It's a financial instrument, so they will not give it to us a day before the interest starts accruing. So it'll be October 31st, we'll get the transmission.
Okay, and we have a plan with where these monies will be kept?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That is replenishing reserves.
but in actual fact, we're gonna be using some financial situation to increase the value of our money.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, business, FCSS, board member approval. We just did that one?
Nope, this is another one. FCSS has been busy in their recruitment. They've got 3 new board members. So this is, again, a request for council decision, a request to appoint Dave Velkamp as a member at large from the town of Vegreville. So the background, the advisory board is currently recruiting members, and Dave has expressed his interest in joining as a way to give back to his community and contribute to making a positive difference. Having lived in Vegreville for several years, Dave experienced a traumatic brain injury 4 years ago and has worked hard to rebuild and move forward in his recovery. This journey has deepened his compassion and given him a unique perspective on the wide variety of challenges faced by the vulnerable sector in Vegreville. Dave is eager to be part of the discussions around how supports can be strengthened to improve quality of life for those living in Vegreville. His motivation comes not only from his personal experience, but also from his genuine passion for community service and his belief in the importance of volunteering. The FCSS Advisory Board is pleased to recommend Dave as a new member and is confident that his dedication, perspective, and desire to give back will make him a valuable asset to the board and the community. There's no financial implications for board members, and communication strategy is, should council approve this request, a letter from the mayor's office indicating acceptance of Dave Velkamp's application to serve on the FCSS Advisory Board would be forwarded by the FCSS department to David Velkamp. So the recommendation is that town council approve the FCSS Advisory Board recommendation to accept David Velkamp as a member at large that represents the vulnerable sector on the FCSS Advisory Board for a 2-year term commencing October 27th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Berry.
Well, having had the opportunity to meet and talk with Dave on several occasions, I think that his recovery is remarkable, and I think that he will provide a different input into FCSS. So I think it's a welcome addition.
Okay, well, again, thank you, David, for stepping up, and so that's half the board. Yeah. That's good. All those in favor? Carried. I guess Director Lefebvre isn't here, so we're gonna talk about the demolition application.
Yes, the topic is the development permit application, demolition of a residential and accessory building. So the background is Vegreville's direct control DC district is established to accommodate developments that, due to the unique characteristics, unusual site conditions, or innovative design, required tailored regulations not available within existing land use districts. Under the DC district, full authority over all aspects of the proposed development, including land use regulations and development conditions, rests solely with council. This allows for greater flexibility and site-specific decision-making. The owner of the property located at 5334 43rd Street received an order to remedy from Protective Services in May of 2025. On October 1st, 2025, Planning and Development received a development permit application for the demolition of the primary and accessory building on the above-noted property. The estimated start date for the demolition project is set for October 22nd, 2025. Please note that both the development permit and the building permit must be issued prior to any demolition activities taking place. So the recommendation before council is, the recommendation is being made that town council approve the development permit application.
Okay, thank you. Look for a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Walla makes the motion. So everybody understands typically we don't get involved in regular zoning for demolition, but now that this is under DC direct control, that the decision lies with us. And I think we all know what property we're talking about here for this demolition. And I'm glad that it's moving forward and the owner of the property will be taking this on to do the demolition. We have done one inspection over there for them, which will be passed on the cost onto the property itself. Okay, any other comments? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. We don't need to see the next one, it's just the application itself. So let's move on to Director Saskew and Northern Lights Library System.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have here a request for council decision regarding Northern Lights Library System levy increase. The proposal is to approve the levy increase of 1.5% for the 2026 budget. Background is the Northern Lights Library System has approved the upcoming 2026 budget, which includes a 1.5% levy increase for municipalities and/or their library boards. The 2026 levy equates to $5.55 per capita, so that equates to $31,679.40 paid to NLS directly from the municipality. Financial implications. The 1.5% levy increase represents an increase of $456.64 for both the municipality and the Vegreville Library Board. So we each have to pay the $31,000 and change. The town of Vegreville will incorporate the levy increase into the 2026 budget. Communication strategy. Copy of the motion accepting or rejecting the levy increase will be forwarded to the NLS board. And recommendation is that town council approve the Northern Lights Library System 2026 levy increase of 1.5% for the 2026 budget.
Okay. We're looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Barry, let's get the conversation started.
Well, I believe that Northern
Councilor
Lights...
Barry made a motion for the recommendation. Okay.
Thank you. I believe that they have, over the past few years, looked at a 1.5 increase each year. So I don't think this is unusual for what they have been doing the last while. And having sat on their board for 9 years, I will say that they have become very good at their levying process and budgeting. And it's under very good management right now. And they do provide a good service for all the various libraries in the area. So I think it's worthwhile to continue supporting them.
Do we actually have a choice? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, a municipality, the agreement with the Northern Lights Library is signed by the municipality. So it's actually signed between the town and the library system. And so, yes, with proper notification, you can withdraw and not be part, but then your library also would not be part of it. And so the thing is that with the library system, it allows an individual living in town be tapped into every library across Canada, or across Alberta, really, except the city, actually. They're usually separated. But I mean, you can borrow books from just about anywhere if you're looking for that title. The library will search for it. The Northern Lights Library System can arrange to find it from another library and deliver it, or they can actually reach out to another library system. There's 7 of them in the province. So they can reach out and see if that's available there. So there's a lot of change across the whole network, so that even though Vegreville is fortunate to have a fairly large collection, they tap into an even larger collection.
Yeah, but if you look at this, I mean, because the library itself has to pay $31,679, and so do we. So let's say we're at $65,000, the taxpayers are supporting. I wonder how many transfers come in. Maybe we could just buy those books and save ourselves some money.
Well, I think the number, they usually give us a pretty good presentation every year as to just how it is a benefit to the community.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's split so that the library board has to pay part of it and the town has to pay part of it, but in the long run, we pay the whole thing.
Yes, the taxpayers of Vegreville.
The taxpayers pay the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, well, I'd be open to having a detailed discussion in the future on it, but I think that at the moment, it's been a system that across the province has been working very well for most all communities. Indeed, it works even better for the smaller communities where they have almost a very small collection. They can tap into Vegreville's large collection and all across the province, an even larger collection.
I just look at it as,
But you have to remember, though, the Northern Lights also makes bulk purchases of a lot of different things on behalf of all the libraries. So you get a benefit from the fact that they can bulk purchase on behalf of all the libraries. So if you're looking for books to be in your collection, you can actually buy it through the Northern Lights, and they'll bulk buy and they get better prices. And also the thing is moving to a lot of e-books now, and they're very much into e-books and making those available as well. So there's more than just the on-surface collection. There's a lot of other things, even computers and support for computers. They provide support for it. You know, so there's a lot more to it than what you just see on the surface.
okay, Councillor Roy.
So I kind of have 2 points on it. One was on the budget itself. Absolutely would agree with Councillor Barry. When it comes to the actual budget, this was something they had discussed long-term, was rather than hitting with large increases, that they would look at this steady increase. I can honestly say, having been able to go on to their virtual meetings, the 1.5 is being very frugal just with all the costs that are going on. It's certainly the budget itself. There isn't wastage. There isn't a lot of extra when it comes to that. And we are in it currently in the system because, of course, there would be a process if we were to decide not to. So for me, I would support that, the increase of it. My second point, though, was just about going forward and for whomever is your representative on the library board, just for future discussions. This is not in any way against the Northern Lights system, but it's just, again, about the importance of stressing to library board the need for some of the tracking, because one of the things that I found out with the Northern Lights that I wasn't aware of before being on the board was, again, the number of books that get brought in, and there's certain things that maybe even becomes more of a provincial advocacy at some point as well, because until I was on the board, I didn't realize that a lot of times the schools will even come to us because they don't have enough copies of a certain book or something that's been done, so they're bringing that in. And I think it's really important to stress being able to find a way to capture that, because if what we're finding is that the taxpayers of Vegreville are paying for a system that is equipping schools, for example, that's something that needs to be advocated back to the province to let them know, when did we become to a point where books weren't provided for, and it's being provided here. So again, these are more just about, the data and the tracking. And then another note that I had made on that as well was, we do have a lot of people that will come to our library because our hours are open more than some of the libraries around. So they might be from the counties and whatnot, but they choose to have their books brought into Vegreville because that libraries opened full-time, where their library may only be a couple days. So again, the more tracking and data that we can encourage the library to be willing to do, it is also fair for us to be able to go back if we are to find out that, say, more than 50% of the books being brought in might be being taken from, the next neighboring town. That is a good conversation to have with our county partners as well, who contribute in a different level than us. So those are just, I think, things that are really important to track going forward, because I did definitely notice that they were saying that small communities that only had their libraries open 1 or 2 days were typically coming to Vegreville. So that number is going to show up in Vegreville's system, but it doesn't automatically represent a Vegreville town resident. So just food for thought for the future.
Okay, as we move forward with budgets, I would like the $31,679 included to the cost of the library, because it is funding that we put forth to the library.
The library includes it in their budget.
And we supply them the money for their budget.
Yes, so, but when we see the breakdown of their budget, they include that 31,000.
But what we never see, which we're starting to see because they're catching on, the amount of money it costs to operate that facility is picked up by the taxpayers of Vegreville. So they're starting to show that now as part of our payment. But this doesn't show up on the cost to run the library. So I would like to start seeing this included, the grant funding, the cost of the facility, and the Northern Lights expense. Because it's all taxpayers' dollars that are being put in to operate a library.
It's not being calculated into
No,
a library
sorry,
expense?
I misunderstood the mayor. The mayor wants our 31,000. We don't
Never
put it
show it
as
in there.
one of those.
I thought we did.
Nope.
No, we don't show it.
We
It's
show the grant funding and the cost to operate the building. We never include this in the overall cost to operate the library.
Just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I can include that. Like, so when I'm doing my November budget presentation, I can do a breakdown of town's contribution of the building and facility, town's contribution to NLLS, and then the library
Grant.
net grant that we're giving to the library. So that is net of the grants that they receive. So like the 250.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Required to give half, we have to put it somewhere. It has to show up, yeah.
Well, it all goes
Yeah, the 250
to
plus
what
30
we
plus-
contribute for that library.
So just as a side point too, the interesting thing is from the county's perspective, they don't operate a library.
Nope.
So therefore, they get a special grant that comes to them because they don't operate a library. And then they just distribute that money to Vegreville, Innisfree, and Manville and claim that that's their contribution when actually it's just government money, they're just transferring it. So
Yeah.
really, the county doesn't pay anything for library services in Vegreville.
And that's my point about the tracking.
You know, so, I mean, their citizens don't contribute to the operation of the library in any one of the three communities because the grant is separate. And so it's provincial money given to the county that they just share and then say, here, we contributed to you.
Yeah, and I get
Just a
that.
side point of,
Yeah, but,
of true cost.
and it comes down to, if we're in for, say, $64,000 altogether, Northern Lights fees, really, because the money that they spend at the library is money from a grant that we use tax dollars for, plus this. How many books are they bringing in a year? Does it add up to the $64,000? I mean, if all we're doing is helping out other smaller municipalities with tax dollars that are created in Vegreville that we collect from our citizens, we should have this conversation. We should include this. This number should be on a line that's contributed out of property taxes going towards the library, which we've never done that, but we should.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that aspect. I think that Northern Lights Library System does provide a good service across the board. But I think communities like Vegreville and a few of the other bigger ones, Cold Lake and Sturgeon County and et cetera, their citizens tend to subsidize the smaller communities.
Well, and again,
So you're making a very valid point.
I usually do. Okay, so here we are. We have a motion for the recommendation. This goes directly into the budget. I don't know where we captured it in the budget before. What line was it under?
It's under community services. We have a community services umbrella that still exists, and we put our Prairie Tales grant, our VTSS, all the random grants, expenditures go there, not the incomes. So that's where they live right now. I don't know if we can technically put it under the library operations. We could, but I could definitely consolidate everything and show it to council
Well,
as a
just to
group.
be transparent.
Yes.
I mean, this is not a grant.
No.
This is a line item in a budget. It's a, yeah. So, again, as we move forward from here on in, we show that as a contribution to the operation of a library here in Vegreville. And I would think that some citizens are gonna be looking at what we actually spend on this library and how many citizens are actually going there. And for $65,000 or 64, whatever the Northern Lights gets out of us, we would have to exchange a ton of books to get to $64,000. So for right now, are we going to approve this levy? Are we gonna wait till budget? How do you wanna do this? Could we have a motion to accept it? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
I'd like to have this postponed until new council's put together too, so they can view it for the budget upcoming.
So, I haven't said very much, but as somebody who sat on Northern Lights and on the library board, it is definitely more than just books. So yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's not necessarily visible in the budget in a way that is easily understood or accessible. If you haven't been on Northern Lights, it may not be clear to you, but I will say that Northern Lights provides technical support, budgeting support, human resources support, as well as the actual physical support of materials to this library in a way that many people in the community use. As somebody myself, I use the ebooks all the time, and I have multiple memberships that are only accessible through Northern Lights. So if I just had a Vegreville Library membership, I wouldn't be able to access those. And as somebody who spends many hours on the road, I will say that I make good use of mine. I know that I'm not the only person that does, but for the citizens of Vegreville to be able to understand what they're paying for in the budget, I think a different way of expressing it is probably applicable. But I would also encourage, if we're going to make a decision about this, that it would be best to hear from James McDonald. He's an incredible budget explainer, if that's a bad word, but he is incredible at being able to transparently explain all of the services and the range of decisions that he's put into his budget. In fact, I would say of all of the budgets that I've seen over my time on multiple boards, his is the very best. And he is a true find for Northern Lights to be able to use as their executive director, because he's really leveled up the expectation of what they deliver to communities. And what it allows us to do is to be able to amplify what we have in terms of skill set, access to material, as well as information. So I just would say that I agree, a transparent budget is a good thing. And also, if this is going to be postponed to a new council, that I would encourage, James is always welcomes the interaction. He was actually at the library today when I went to vote. So he would be very prepared and willing to be able to present to a new council, something that's always available for us. And they were instrumental in being able to provide leadership coverage when we didn't have a manager for several periods over the last number of years in between searching, and were invaluable at that time. And we didn't pay any extra for that.
Okay, Councillor Willow.
I guess my only thought, and I'm the first one who doesn't want to spend extra money on this, because there is a process for going out, we wouldn't be in a situation, I believe, of saying, let's just go no. And today, I almost feel like we're in this for this budget. Not that I want to make decisions for another group, but it's not really in the process of how quickly this is going to be saying, we're going to pull out. So my recommendation only would be that I do believe his actual budgeting is very tight and very careful, and I do have a lot of faith in the way they budget. And having sat in and looked at their budget meetings, gone line by line, I do believe the 1.5 is just fair and consistent with what they had discussed. So I would recommend going ahead, not putting this whole part of it on a new group that's going to be looking at so many different things, but I would say add it as an ongoing item to then fully review. Just because I don't think you can pull out for this year. You're talking about a difference of less than $500 in costing from what last year's commitment was. So it would be pretty quick to pull out on the library board on this. I just don't know that that's viable. But again, to kind of counter your point, Tanina's like, yes, there's a lot of services. But again, we are talking about it's something you're utilizing, and I do believe they're providing a gamma, and I think he would come in here and he would explain all of the things, but that doesn't guarantee that the people getting to use it are residents. So it does not lose the point that we have to prove who is using these services, and it has to be captured somewhere.
Councillor Barrett.
Yes, thank you, Worship. I do believe, if I recall the agreement correctly, we have to give them a year's notice.
Yeah, that's
So, I mean, like, this is basically, we've kind of accepted the 1.5 each years, and we've been warned that it's going to be a gradual increase. And I think that if we wanted to pull out of Northern Lights, we would have to give them a 1-year notice that we were withdrawing. And that would give the library also, because once the town withdraws from the Northern Lights, it's gone for the library as well. They don't have a separate agreement. The agreement is with the town and Northern Lights. So, I do believe, I'd have to look it up again, but I think that it's probably a year's notice. Certainly, it's not something that we could decide today and tell them that, you know, a month from now, we're out. It's not that short.
Okay, how about this? We know we need to have a very frank conversation about the amount of money, tax dollars that are going into the library. It's not sustainable for the usage of the citizens, the amount of usage of the citizens of Vegreville. And if it's a year's notice they need, maybe we should put together either a ad hoc or a subcommittee or something with a new, take a look at it. We need to know exactly who is using our library. We need to know if the residents, for the amount of money that goes into that operations and facilities, because it never ever seems to go down. I mean, myself personally, I know James does a nice budgeting. I've listened to him over the years, and he still uses the same quote: for every dollar you spend on your library, $3 come back. That was okay in the 50s and 60s. That is not the case today. That math will never work. If we need to track, have people sign in their names as they're coming into the library, we need some data. We don't have any say on how they operate, how many employees they have, where the money goes. We have no say whatsoever. And I don't want to take over that. We have one opportunity, and is how much money we're investing into that facility.
You know, I'd just add that so that people listening to this conversation, it's not like we don't fund them well. I mean, under the Library Act, the town would only be obligated to provide right now about 21,000 to 25,000 max at our new population level. And we gave them like 256,000 last year, plus another 100, what I thought was about 130. Now you're suggesting it might be more like 180, 190, 200,000 more. It's very well funded. The aspect is that maybe cost savings are in other areas than Northern Lights. That, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, but a town under 10,000 doesn't have to have a professional manager. They don't have to have a master's degree.
I've seen stats and what other communities, small cities, put into their library,
So,
and we're over it. Go ahead, Councillor Lemko.
We also have to remember that it's a $5.55 per capita, and recently our population is climbing, so we're looking also at additional 300 people or so in the last little while, so those numbers will keep climbing.
What I'm proposing, we're going to vote on this, and I do believe you're right that we need to have a year's notice to opt out of this. But I want something that's transparent. We can't sit here and just not do anything about it. I mean, we can be upset at the money that's going in there and not knowing how many people are using it. I mean, myself personally, other than Councillor Rudick, I don't know anybody else that's taking e-books out of there. You know, I don't. I know some people here or there, but again, we need to put something together, talk to the library board. We're not there to upset them. And so they better understand where we're coming from too, because this is one of the largest budget items that we have. Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. I agree on the stats and that, like, I look at it, if we look at it at the 62 or 64, if we stat it out and we say, on average, if we didn't have Northern Lights, it would cost us $10,000 or $15,000. That's $50,000 of savings. I'd much rather give a grant of 10 or 15 and say, this should cover everything that we need without NLSS. So I think it's important to take a look, a deeper dive.
So we're gonna vote on this tonight, and I'm sure it's gonna pass because it's just too late. But I've been here for a few years, and we've always had challenges with the funding levels that we have at the library. I think it's time that we started having communications with them, open, transparent, about how we can decrease the cost of that facility. And then we need to have data on who's using it. Okay, so right now, there's a motion for the recommendation that we go ahead with this budget year at $31,679.40. All those in favor? Thank you. Sorry that took a little long, but the fact that we never list it as a contribution to the library when we should. Okay, next up.
I have here a request for council decision for a 2025 capital budget reallocation. The proposal is to approve the reallocation of funds from the 2025 capital budget. On November 24th, 2024, council approved the 2025 through 2029 capital budget, which included the Highway Avenue project at a total cost of $662,358. Of this, $321,555 was funded through the Canada Community Building Fund, and $340,803 was funded through the local government fiscal framework. This project had not yet commenced in 2025. On June 26, 2025, while completing a budgeted manhole repair, Public Works staff discovered that the sewer line was backing up. Further investigation identified a major sewer line obstruction, which required extensive work to clear. The repair took approximately 1 month to complete at a cost of $542,000. Due to the scope and cost of the sewer line repair, the Highway Avenue project was placed on hold. It was a general consensus of council to reallocate the project funding once the total cost of the sewer line repair was confirmed. Financial implications. The reallocation of a capital grant funding will enable the 2025 sewer line repair project to be financed through remaining 2025 allocations. Specifically, the project will be funded by $321,555 from the CCBF funding and $220,445 from LGFF funding, for a total of $542,000 in grant funding. Communication for this will be an informed level 1. Senior management and the grant authorities will be informed of council's decision. Recommendation is that administration recommends that town council amend the 2025 through 2029 capital budget by removing Highway Avenue project and reallocating the associated funding for the 2025 sewer line repair project and as CCBF grant funding of $321,555 and LGF grant funding of $220,445 for total grant funding of $542,000.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll need a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments, any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Well, I guess we were fortunate that we didn't have sewer backing up into the south end of town into all the residences, so this had to be done, and reallocating is pretty much the only choice we had at this point. And just proves how important infrastructure is around town, and funding of infrastructure going forward, of how important it really is, and everybody needs to understand it's not all glorious, but it needs to be done before some other niceties instead of needs.
And also the fact that when we were in there doing this cleanup and this big flush, that we sent in the larger camera systems. We measure wall thickness. We don't have any penetration in that main sewer line, so there is nothing coming in from the outside. but some of the wall thickness of the pipe is starting to deteriorate, and it's gonna be many years, every year, a small project to keep having that line moving forward. So with the technology that's out there for relining them, but, we have cambered it and we've measured wall thicknesses. So we know eventually that it needs to be done, and we're starting this year in this year's budget. We're going to start allocating money every year, and we're gonna keep doing that lining on that. But the fact that we don't have any penetration into the line, that means that we have some other areas that we need to address. And, they will be done through bylaw or whatever purpose or whatever angle we can make it work here, so. All those in favor for the recommendation? Carried. Thank you. Well, it looks like CAO Ling, you're up next.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. This next request for council decision is regarding council orientation timeline extension. So it's to approve a 90-day extension for council orientation topics listed within section 201.1 subsection 1 subsection B of the MGA. So with the background is with the 2024 and 2025 amendments to the Municipal Government Act, training is mandatory for all members of council. Training on the following topics must be concluded prior to the first organizational meeting: the role of Alberta municipalities, the Town of Vegreville organization and function, the roles and responsibilities of council and councillors, and the roles and responsibilities of the CAO and staff. Members of council must also attend training on key municipal plans, projects and policies, budgeting and financial administration, public participation, and any other topics prescribed by regulations. However, council has the option to pass a resolution to extend the timeline for these specific topics to be conducted within 90 days of councillors taking the oath of office. Given that the Town of Vegreville organizational meeting occurs 1 week after the election, administration recommends extending the training timeline. The current council orientation training schedule anticipates that all topics will be covered no later than November 18th, 2025. So the recommendation is that Town Council extends the time for orientation training for topics under the Municipal Government Act, Section 201-.1, subsection 1, subsection B, to be completed within 90 days of the oath of office.
Okay, thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Lemko. Okay, so we were trying to get this all in.
We will have the majority of it done. However, there has been, just because it is such a tight timeline and working around full-time jobs and having to schedule stuff in the evening, some of it's going to be a quick and dirty orientation that we would like to make sure that you get the fulsome experience in a timely manner. We did have some counselors that may or may not be able to attend specific training sessions because of other obligations. So this is more just to make sure that we've got it on the books, that we have a motion of council that says we can extend it if we have to. As being part of the regional training, some of these dates are fairly much set in stone, so if a counselor can't make it, then we have to make sure that they are orientated, and this gives us a little bit more time to catch them on a different date.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, you've got one more.
Yes, thank you. This next one is the appointment of Director of Emergency Management. So the proposal is to appoint Fire Chief Gary Foss as the Director of Emergency Management. So the background on this is the Emergency Management Act requires that each municipality appoint a Director of Emergency Management. The role of the DEM consists of the following. They act as chair of the Municipal Emergency Management Agency. They act as chair of the Municipal Emergency Advisory Committee. And they act as director of the Municipal Emergency Coordination Center. They ensure the deputy directors of emergency management is and are designated in their absence. They coordinate all emergency services and other resources used in an emergency. They ensure the town and or the staff of the town and members of the Municipal Emergency Management Agency, and the agency as required, complete training to maintain effectiveness in the event of an emergency, and they perform other duties as prescribed by the local authority. So the communication strategy will be a public engagement process level 1. Written notification will be forwarded to the Alberta Emergency Management Agency and the County of Minbroon. A media release will be distributed to local media and town staff. The appointment will be posted on the Town of Vegreville's website. So the recommendation is that Town Council appoint Fire Chief Gary Foss as Director of Emergency Management for the Town of Vegreville, effective immediately.
Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion for the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Rudick. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Thank you. So, with Gary Foss being appointed to the Director of Emergency Management, what happens to the fire chief position?
It's depending on the nature of the emergency. Not all emergencies require fire. So if it happens to be like an
Hurricane?
RCMP emergency or something like that, where it's not necessary fire, where he has to act in a fire chief role, he can be the director of the emergency man. If we have to open an EOC, he can be the DEM for that. If it's in a situation where it's all hands on deck for fire, he does have a deputy chief. There's also 2 deputy DEMs within the town staff as well that can step in and take over for him if he's needed at the incident versus at the incident command.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, so time for council reports. We're gonna start with 2 councillors that are their last report.
Which one? I get to go?
Well, I'm
Because you
looking
usually
at,
turn to me and then you say Councillor Lemko, so. Anyways, I don't have a lot.
I have a bad eye.
Okay, well, there you go. Let's see, I had on October 7th, our pre-budget meeting, followed by the RCMP meeting and a legislative meeting, so it was a busy day. I did attend last night's candidates forum, which thank you to the chamber. I think that was really good, and it was nice to see a lot of people come out. And apparently, according to what I heard last night from some chamber members, they had a large number of views. They were talking over 1,600 at the time, and I think it went to more later. So that's great. Hopefully not just, one person watched it 1,000 times, so I'm hoping it's going good. But either way, good on them. I know there's a lot of people who said they wanted to find ways to be able to see the forum but couldn't necessarily make it out. So I think that's really good. And then I have tonight's council meeting, last official meeting, but I do have one more committee meeting, and it happens to be Northern Lights, so I don't believe there's going to be a lot of additional, since we did pass the budget item, but I will forward anything else I have from it. And that's my last report.
Wow, that was very dramatic at the end.
Dramatic.
Well, there was a lot of people watching for sure. I watched the National when I got home. Ian Natahansing there said that he watched it. So.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
Councillor Bullock.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's probably the last time I'm calling you that right now. Anyways. Anonymous might call you something else, but. Anyways, all kidding aside, October 7th, I attended the pre-budget meeting, and we had some good lively discussion during that, so that was fantastic, and I'm certainly gonna miss those, because I felt a victory in that one for once, so. October 7th, a meeting with our RCMP superintendent, as well on October 7th, a legislative committee meeting. I as well attended the candidate forum last night, which was interesting to sit back and listen to all the new candidates and wonder who's gonna get my X today, which I, put those down. So anyways, I got out there and voted, and hopefully everybody else takes advantage and gets out there. Well, it's over tonight, but they can go on the 20th, so. Tonight's town council meeting, and I just want to say it's been a Interesting 4 years on council. I never dreamed off the start that I would end up here, never thought I would even run, and you all have probably to thank the one person sitting to my right here, Councillor Barry, for getting me involved in my first committee, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So just thank you to everybody. We had some lively discussions. We disagree sometimes. I'm sure sometimes that we might want to tell each other a few extra words than we did, but the important thing is we all did move ahead, no matter on what we thought. So just advice for anybody that's coming on council. You have some good ideas probably on what you want to change and everything, and you're gonna find out it's gonna be handed back to you, and you're gonna wonder how you could have done better or differently, and you just move on with your decision and think what's best for the community. And it's sometimes you just can't have your way. It's like not every person gets a prize. But when you do get that prize that you initiated something and participate on a committee moving forward, you're gonna feel good about it. You did something good for the community. And I think in the past 4 years we have accomplished a lot as a team. It's not by just one person, it's a team. No matter what you think we can do for you individually, we can't. But you can give us your opinion and we take it back to council because it's a team decision in the end. So I'd like to thank Vegreville for having faith in voting me in. And I truly think it's a popularity contest a lot of time. So, I'm going out when I still have some popularity. So anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll try and follow that. I think I go back to September the 30th for the manager's presentations for budget 2025, which was pretty thorough and took us an entire day to do the first discussions. October the 1st, Build Bright Homes, their announcement of the new apartment building and the tours that we took for the other facilities that they're well busy on. The houses are close to being completed. On the 6th, it was a very special opportunity because it was a proclamation that His Worship came and made for Purple Thursday and coffee with the ladies of the Royal Purple. And I tried to join them just because of the great cake and other amenities that they were supplying there. And I think they almost were willing to take me. Yeah. 'Cause I fit in the right age. Then on the 7th, we had pre-budget planning meeting, and we followed that with a meeting with the RCMP Superintendent Tony Hansen from the Eastern Alberta District, which I thought was very informative, a meeting that we had with the RCMP locally there and such. I thought that he was very interesting, very involved. I think he's good for that. And then the 7th, the Ledge meeting. I think I was also at the Canada Forum last night. I have this vision and tremors in the night, middle of the night, but I thought the questions were actually all very good. And I thought that the show of support of the citizens coming out was pretty good. I look forward to hearing the results on the 20th, though, and being able to know what the results are and relax one way or the other. And in tonight's regular council meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rudick.
Thank you, Your Worship. And before I start, I'll just say thank you to everybody that's served on council this term. It's been fun and productive, entertaining, and not as stressful as other councils. So thank you to everybody for making sure that this has been productive for everybody that's working at this table, but also, more importantly, for all the people that live in this town. September 30th, I attended budget meeting. October 1st, attending the groundbreaking and the tour of Build Bright Homes commercial apartment as well as their residential starts. It was great to be able to have feet on the ground and be able to see what's happening and also be visible, showing the community what's happening and share some information. And whether people want to take that information or not is up to them. But I will say that it is much easier to be angry than to be informed. And it takes some effort to understand what it is that we're trying to do as a council, and I feel very proud about the work that we've done collectively. And thank you to our administration and to this council for ensuring that we have the vision and the fortitude to be able to make some decisions that are not always easy. October 6th, I was so pleased to be able to join the Royal Purple for their 75th anniversary proclamation and coffee. Again, what a lovely group of volunteers. It is, again, humbling to be served and feted by some seniors that are super seniors in every sense. And I actually want to put this out here. The destruction of their memory albums is actually extremely unfortunate. And if there is anybody that's watching that has the time and the skill set to be able to take the physical record of their photo albums and be able to put it into a memory book that is online, I would ask maybe there's a volunteer that could do this, because unfortunately the Royal Purple in the Elks Hall had their safe stolen at one time, and the only thing that was in there was somebody had made velvet covered, detailed, hand typed and drawn, compiled records of every member that's been part of the Royal Purple, including their inaugural members. And some dodo decided that they would pull the safe out of the Elks Hall, and the Royal Purple advertised in the paper asking if people could please return those albums, which they did, in a tote that got rain on it and ruined those. So they are mildewed and falling apart, and it wouldn't take a lot of effort, but this is a perfect example. Maybe there's somebody watching that has that skill set, that is a scrapbooker that could do this online, that would be willing to be able to give that to those ladies. I would love to be able to wave a magic wand, and maybe there's somebody that's watching that has that skill set. They have their celebration in November. And again, maybe there's somebody watching that has that skill set, because that would be a real gift to those volunteers. Pre-budget planning workshop, again, being able to start some of the work and ask some of the hard questions. Again, just to maybe go back onto the conversation about utilization of various facilities and services, specifically like Northern Lights. I would say that most of the people that I talk to, not all of them, but most of them, for example, value the services of the library. So again, a really important conversation to make sure that the council is diverse and we're representing issues and expenditures in a way that captures the needs and the wants of the community. And sometimes those change over time. So that was a valuable discussion. October 7th, meeting with Superintendent Tony Hansen from Eastern Alberta District was a great conversation, very frank, and great to be able to hear real-time understanding of what's happening for them, and for them to get a good understanding of what's happening with us, because it's very clear that a lot of the decisions that the province is making is moving us towards a provincial policing model of some sort, and really important to be able to understand where the RCMP plays and how we can continue to work together to be able to make sure that we are being able to protect our citizens in the best way possible. Followed by the Legislative Committee meeting. October 9th, I attended the Alberta Seniors and Community Housing Association regional meetings on behalf of the MD Minburn Foundation. Good conversation to be able to see where our advocacy goals are provincially for housing for seniors lodging. There was a provincial inventory or consultation done about the lodge program, and it is something that's unique in Canada, so it's actually a very unique program. Unfortunately, over time, since it was first established, it's been largely eroded in terms of funding, which has left a gap at the wrong time. And so Vegreville is not alone in this discussion, but I just happen to be sitting with a table of folks that are from a city, mostly offer private for-profit seniors housing. And again, important for them to be able to hear from myself and Lamont, for example, about the challenges that we have in Vegreville. But just some conversations about the gaps between policy intent and the delivery, the challenges that we have with continuing care B is what Lodge is called now under the new continuing care name is what the change in name is called. But I think it's really very clear, just listening to the conversations of municipalities across the province, that there are some very unclear portions of this housing model. And even I'll let Councillor Lemko talk about some of the news that we had from Minburn Foundation meeting. The province still has not come to the table with another funding pocket, because the last 2 times it opened up, it was completely filled right away. At the same time that there are some real challenges with making sure that we have seniors living in the right level of care at the appropriate time that provides dignity. And we want folks that have built this province, have paid taxes for decades, to be treated well at the most vulnerable time of their life. So it's a great meeting. At the same time, it was also a little concerning that this is the regional meeting. They're hearing some really challenging things across the province, and often most challenging in rural areas. October 14th, MD Minburn Foundation meeting, and I'll let Councillor Lemko talk about most of it, but I will say that we've got very few vacancies right now. We've got a number of people that have moved in. Some of the other facilities that we manage in Manville and Innisfree are full for the first time in a long time, and there is a waiting list starting on both of those communities' housing pockets that we manage as well. And just some things that we're trying to improve our processes and make sure that we continue to elevate what we're doing there. And I'm very proud of the work that this version of the board has done. We've done a lot of work in a very short period of time in terms of being able to do the architectural scoping, making sure that we've got more tangible evidence as a management board, or sorry, governance board, making sure that we have processes in place to be able to quantify some of the things that we do and make sure that we leave that board better than we found it. And I'm really proud of some of the things that we've directed administration to do there. So we have some HR reporting manuals and some things in place, and advertising for the facility, as well as increasing the fiscal responsibility there and the amount of money that we generate. So some good work there, and more to come, because of course this is a facility that is the oldest in the province, established in 1961, definitely needing some upgrades. Although in the meantime, we've done some upgrades. So if you've been in there, there are new flooring through the common areas that will be preserved as we construct the next portion of the build. Tonight's council meeting, I also attended the CALS board meeting today, and Community Association for Lasting Success has had some challenges this year in terms of some of the removal of the affordability grant from the province. This relates to childcare, but what it means for people that have their children in Head Start and or the preschool program is that it's those missing middle people. If you don't qualify for subsidy anymore, there are a lot of parents that are not able to afford it anymore, and it's often kids that just need a little bit of extra help before they enter the education program, like K onwards. And it's really impacting the finances of families that are on the edge. So it's a real challenge, and some kids are really struggling, and they're really experiencing firsthand, like the food bank is overwhelmed, and these families are really impacted by that. And the teacher strike is not helping at all. So CALS is doing their best to be able to support families, and there were some good examples of the programming that they do. For example, doing their Books with Babies program at the Lodge yesterday, just right after our Lodge meeting, was again highly popular with young families, and a great opportunity to be able to link those people to each other. Breakfast Club is on hold during the strike, but they've also lost some of their funding. So it's an interesting time to be able to manage the budgets there. So they're also doing some good work, applying for Canada Summer Jobs already for next summer, as well as making sure they've got some new grants in place to be able to support the good work that they do there. Tomorrow I have VTSS board meeting and VEGMIN board meeting, and then that'll be my last report for this council. And thank you very much to all of our staff and administration that help support all the work that we do as council. And thank you, Vegreville. This has been a slice. We'll see what happens on Monday.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Starting October 1st, I was there for the Build Bright Homes tour of the new developments. So it was good to get inside the houses and see what they're bringing for people of the community or people that want to move to our community. The shops downtown, the walls are up for some of that. And then we were there when the excavator was breaking ground at the apartment. So that was cool to see. Put a couple shovels in for some pictures. So on the 7th, a few things, the pre-budget meeting with the RCMP, and then our ledge meeting. I do think that the new commander is to the point. He didn't mess around. He told us what he thought. He told us what his challenges were, and he understood our challenges, and I think we're going to get along well. So that was good. I too attended the candidate forum last night. Lots of people showed up. Like Councillor Barry said, good questions, and hopefully people got to hear from the upcoming candidates and make an informed decision. And then I had tonight's council meeting, and that'll be my last report.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. On September 25th, I attended the Métis Crossing 20th anniversary. And I attended on behalf of the Go East of Edmonton board. It's interesting to see that the work that's come on in that location, and it's already 20 years. Go, time flies. But it was an interesting afternoon. We got to see some of the pods they have up there, the facility itself, and they've done a remarkable job, and they continue to expand. There'll be a sauna, outdoor sauna, massage. It's quite a facility. That evening, I attended the Vegreville and Area Stands with Ukraine committee meeting. And as we begin to wrap up the committee and the work they've done, looking at the donation center and moving some of our items that we no longer need to other locations, be that an open cupboard there, and something to do that. And yeah, it's been good work on that committee's part. They've done a ton of stuff. The support of the Ukrainians, they continue to support. Some of the Ukrainian families have, two of them have moved on, work-related in Leduc, and another family has gone home. And so we'll slowly disband, and that'll be sad, but we're still there. On the 30th, I attended the budget manager's presentations along with the rest of council. October 1st, I as well attended the groundbreaking at the apartment and the Build Bright Homes tour of their houses and their downtown development. Then on the 7th, I attended the budget session in the morning, the RCMP, and it was an interesting and a good conversation. The ledge meeting. Then on, let's move to the 14th, which is yesterday. I attended the MD Amendment Foundation board meeting. Some of the highlights of that meeting, and it was a board meeting. Part of our board now is two members will be not running again from industry, Jim Jackson and Deb Jim is out of Manville and Deb's out of industry, and they chose not to run in this couple of elections. There'll be two more there. And then Tara, Tanine, and myself and Carl are running, and although Tara's acclaimed. So that board is going to change what it looks like in the next years to come. But aside from that, we had some Zoom call with our project manager and our consultant, Derek, and he talked about a recent announcement, Build Canada Homes. It's a new federal agency aimed to build and support affordable housing projects. It's an important step. There are still a number of uncertainties worth noting. There's little detail about how CMHC will fit into the new structure. and what'll happen with the Alberta or the Affordable Housing Fund, which is likely to wind down. So that's all that's happening in the background right now. But our CMHE has reached out to our consultant and specifically inquired on the status of the Minburn Foundation project. And right now, the discussion was on switching our submission to what it is now to now move into rapid housing. So what that means for us is we could be pursuing a higher grant level from CMHC under the rapid program to replace the provincial gap. So we're looking at a project that has municipal funding in place. It's got a Class B, which is 50% plus with drawings, architectural drawings and such. So we will have a Class B in 2 weeks. We will be submitting on this part, and we could be receiving funding after the federal budget's announced in 3 months. So, but there's a lot of uncertainties in that, but we're shifting to go to that model because we're not certain we'll be accepted in the Alberta Partnership Housing Program. And more details will come out of that as we move forward with that, but it's kind of a good thing that we proceeded towards the Class B. To date, the Minburn Foundation has spent $640,000 in getting to a Class B. Without it, we wouldn't fit into this rapid housing thing. And the beauty also is that CMHE reached out to us. Say, are you ready? Because I have to believe they're getting $1.3 billion or something, $1.5 billion in funding to move this forward, but they're waiting for the federal budget, according to our consultant, and we'll see what happens after that. But what will that mean for us? We might have to fill the gap in funding between the allocations of money. So I believe they give 15% off the hop, and then we pay about 1.4 million a month as we're building the project is what our expenses will be. Project's 32 million, and we might. And then the next funding allocation from CMHC is 33% of the project's completion. So there's a gap in how much money we'll have before we get more money. So in order to pay our contractors and the build, that's where the municipal funding will come from, which we've approved at the 5.4 million between the four of us or something. So we might need a debenture, but let's wait till after election before we talk, because I don't know where I'll stand after this. But anyway, that's good news, very good news, because we spent 2 years getting to today where we are with the project, and we can't let our foot off the gas or we'll stop. So it's the project's coming to fruition, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get the funding, we'll have shovels in the ground next spring. All right, and last night's forum, which was a good event. It was nice to see the amount of people out. And I did get 2 donuts out of the deal. And tonight's council meeting, Your Worship. And that's me.
Okay, well, thank you. On the 24th, I attended the AGM of the Sunshine Club, and it was a full house over there. They had their contractor that did the work. They had some work done on their rooftops, and it got wet up there over time, and nobody really noticed it. And they had some mold and a lot of water damage in their facility. So the contractor that did the work was there to give them an update of where they were, and then I spoke for a while regarding some of the misconceptions of that piece of land that's next door, and you know, I was as honest and frank as I could possibly be. So they understood a little more about what the land, the purpose of the land was before, where the boundaries are, and what it looks like moving forward. They also asked a bunch of questions about what's going on in town, and it was a really nice afternoon. Then on the next night, John Espatouk, we had a bit of an emergency meeting, not regarding water, just regarding our process. Everything is now filed with the Utilities Commission, and they're looking at the dispute, the rebuttals pieces from our legal and from the Northeast Water Commission has gone through, so hopefully we'll hear something within the next month on where we're at with that. On the 30th, we had the budget, the manager's presentations. It was a good day. Was a bit of a wish list again, and wants and needs come up quite a few times. So, and then on the 1st, I joined in with Built Bright Homes, and they're shoveling the ground over the new Vegreville Heights, Vegreville Heights development. And then we did tour over at the plaza and looked at the precast building that started, and then the 7 houses. That evening, I attended the K40 meeting here in town. It was nice to get back over to our meeting room at Crave, and yeah, the building looks good over there again. On the 3rd, we met with Tony Hansen, superintendent from Northeastern Alberta. We had met with his boss earlier, a couple weeks earlier, the new superintendent for K Division, and we're building a very good relationship with the top brass in the province with the RCMP, and you know, we support the local RCMP and the job they do. We just don't support the justice system is the problem. And on the 6th, I attended the Royal Purple's proclamation signing, and it was a nice event. It was nice to see those ladies all come out and get their jackets on, and they put on a feed there too, I'll tell you. It was amazing. So everybody that can attend, I think it's November the 8th is their 75th. And the plea that Councillor Rudick put out there, if there's somebody that can help them out, you know, those photo albums and the albums of their day they started and stuff, they've really kept them nice, and for someone to steal them, nice enough to bring them back, but you know, you think that you had to get them soaked. So if there's anybody out there, like Councillor Rudick said, it would be nice to help them out. Then we had the budget meeting on the 7th, ledge meeting after that. We had the John Espatouk, I had another John Espatouk meeting on October the 9th. And I did attend the forum last night, and I thought everybody did a really good job. So, you know, kudos to everybody there, and the chamber did a great job. The questions weren't very tough, but of course I wasn't up there, so it was good not to be up there, eh, folks?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was good. I just want to let everybody know, come Monday is the national or provincial flu shot week kicks off. And so if you'd like to join me at 8:30 in the morning at the drugstore for the photo op of getting your flu shot, come on down. As this is the last meeting that we'll have with this current council, I just want to say to everybody here that it's been a pleasure to serve with you all. I think we've had a very good team. We've done a lot of good work and moved the needle forward, and the progress of this community is starting to really show, and something we should be all proud of. I know that not every resident was happy with every decision that we made, but like Councillor Lemko said last night, decisions are made on what's best for the community overall. And affordable housing is something that we need. And when I say affordable housing, I don't want people to miss what I'm saying. That is not subsidized housing, for those of you that have been spreading that around town. affordable housing means housing that's affordable for young families and even for seniors to move to town. Again, I know that everybody that came in their first year here and think, well, you know, they're gonna change the world, and I was in that boat once myself, and things move a little slower in this world, but I wanna say that everybody here was very thoughtful in all the decision-making and made good points, and it was a pleasure to serve, and I'm very proud of the team that we have here, so, again, I think the residents, on behalf of the residents of Vegreville, as being the mayor, I wanna thank you all for the time and trying to make your community a better place for everybody, so, thank you very much. And I want to thank our staff too. I mean, without the staff, really, we'd have to do all that research and find all those answers ourselves, so. Okay, so is there any other business of council? Okay, well, we do have a couple of, well, at least one closed session item. So at this time, I'll take a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Berry makes the motion at 8:42. All those in favor? 100%. Good.